One moment. You might want to turn your head. Uh-oh. It's even worse. Some tea on there. Yeah. Right? Sure. Okay, guys, it's becoming like my old cell phone camera. So much scratchy and blurry. Oh well. Yeah, we still got a little bit of whatchamacallit. Not lens flare, lens blur flare. Oh wait, better turn that off so you don't get copyright. Whatever they call it. Copyright block. There. Anyway, so guys, again, your everyday, well, not every day now because they changed the design, but a diamond box holds 2 stacks of graphic novels, as my regular, irregular viewers know. And generally, I haven't been showcasing these because they're just stuff I collected or grabbed over the years. Nothing really amazing. But this one, I opened it up and I saw 2 interesting things on the top. One was Silly Daddy, A Long Goodbye, which is a graphic novel. It's got an ISBN. And on the other side, a gemstone issue of Walt Disney's Uncle Scrooge, specifically number 347. Okay? Plus some other things inside. So I think there's enough here, enough meat for me to talk about. So let's start with the first pile, which is Uncle Scrooge. Now, you would think, yes, this is a comic book. And for the most part, it's sold in comic book shops. But this is Gemstone. Gemstone, after Gladstone, Another Rainbow, stopped publishing Disney Comics, Gemstone grabbed the license for Disney Comics in the United States. And I think England too, but I don't know. Don't quote me on that. However, Gemstone already had book distribution. So this Diamond, and Gemstone was publishing the Overstreet Guides. They still do, among a few other things. So Diamond says, hey, this is Donald Duck, this is Disney. It might sell in other channels. So let's put an ISBN on there. And right there, of course I can't see it. There we go. Is your big honking ISBN. You can see it right there, excuse me, 978. So I do not consider this a comic. I consider this a graphic novel, even though I don't think, I mean, Grand Comics Database will have that on there, but most people consider this a comic book. They're expensive comic books, square bound. These used to be special things back in the day in the 80s, early 90s. First issue of Excalibur was actually a special issue, a one-shot. Dark Knight came out like this for square bound volumes. Then they collected it into a graphic novel. And it's square bound. I don't know what they called it. They called it Prestige, might have called it something else. But anyway, so not difficult to do. And this is a flagship title. So Gemstone said, okay, we're going to take Uncle Scrooge and Walt Disney Comics and Stories, and we're going to put them in these giant size, annual sized issues. I don't know. These are not paged, but again, 64 pages or so of content. And as you can see, that's a Don Rosa cover, so there's a Don Rosa story inside. And I even got him to autograph it. Didn't realize I was there, but cool. Nice guy if you meet him. And this is Escape from Forbidden Valley. Don Rosa, Egmont and Scott Rockwell doing the color, John Babcock doing the lettering. You also have a Beagle Boy story by Pat and Carol McGreal, a Donald Duck Uncle Scrooge story by Frank Yonker, which looks to be a Man of La Mancha rift. You have Guy Regillis and Feathery Duck, Lars Jensen, and Uncle Scrooge by Janet Gilbert. And that one by Janet Gilbert, that's pretty on model. That's almost Barksian in style. This is more of your European studio style. You would see those in the Taschen books, paperbacks, overseas. Of course, what Rosa does is puts a lot of nice texture in it. Also, a little bit darker than most stories. So anyway, I consider this a graphic novel, so it's in the graphic novel box. What's next? Oh, Batman: The Collected Adventures Volume 2. Wraparound cover, of course. Good stuff. Again, probably the best Batman series ever published. And yes, Batman: Mask of Phantasm is one of the best Batman movies. There's a lot of good Batman movies. Lego Batman is up there. The Mask of Phantasm's up there. The Nolan trilogy's up there. Competitive. But this is Volume 2, published back in 1993, issues number 7 through 12. And again, just good, accessible comic storytelling. Great artwork. Mike Parobeck, Kelly Puckett is the writer, Rick Birch is the inker, Rick Taylor colorist, Tim Harkins letters. And this was, at the time, a $5.95 book. Okay? 6 issues. That's not bad. Next, an even better deal, The Essential Silver Surfer. As you can tell from the Art Deco design, this is one of their earlier volumes. There's the Isbin. Most of these are commanding at a good price nowadays. I just came across my Howard the Duck, which is selling in about the $50 range. This originally was $12.99 for about 25 issues. I think this is. This might be the complete. And this, of course, is the Silver Surfer, the Stan Lee, John Buscema run from the late 60s after he had been. And this looks like it is the first 18 issues plus the Fantastic Four annual. So that's a good chunk. That page is in it? The page is numbered? No. But as you can see, all these and the showcase from DC, great value. Black and white, which for this artwork, I think works really well, especially when you're talking about Buscema. Just good stuff. If you can find them, you can find them fairly cheap. I'd say under $20, $25, which is $1 an issue really inside. Grab them. Next, we have Strangers in Paradise. I Dream of You. Autographed on the cover by Terry Moore. I usually don't like to have them do that. I prefer to have them inside. But I got him to do a self-portrait. I think it's a self-portrait. Yep. A sketch. There's Francine. Very interesting series. I think he restarted it recently. But oh man, very good romance story. All sorts of crazy stuff. And oh man, just look at that. Look at that characterization there. He is just amazing. I do have this issue number 2, originally published in color, where I forget her name now. Not Francine. But you know, fans will know it. She has this crazy cartoon dream. And, good stuff. There's a complete issue volume out there somewhere. I did not buy it. Next, we have the highly recommended, the whole series. Wonder Woman, The Contest, William Mesner Lowe's, Mike Deodato Jr. Good line. Good run from the line. This was originally $10. And it contains Wonder Woman 0, 90 through 93. So 5 issues for $10 is $2 an issue. Usually on the graphic novels, it's about the same cost as if you had bought the comics singularly. That's a word. Here we have The Coming of Bishop. Wasn't a fan at the time, but this is a Marvel graphic novel. I might have bought it. Got it cheap, on a discount or something. This is Lee. Oh man, I don't think this has ever been open. No, yeah, Jim Lee, Louis Portacio, John Byrne, Scott Lobdell, John Romita Jr., Andy Kubert. My word. My word. So there you have it. Don't know if they've done anything with Bishop lately. I don't know what Hickman Ryan is dealing with him. Might have gone back in time. Here's an interesting series. Not series, but an imprint. This is Marvel Comics and Thomas Nelson, Christian Classic Series. Charles M. Sheldon's best-selling inspirational novel, In His Steps. In the mid-'80s, Marvel, in conjunction with Thomas Nelson. Ooh, how's that for foreshortening? Did a series of graphic novels. I believe that also included, this is Martin Powell writer, Frank Carrillo penciler. Yeah, you've never heard of him. H. Mesnick and Renee Wittestedt are the editors. It's copyrighted by Marvel. Anyway, they did a series of religious graphic novels with Thomas Nelson. The one to get of any of them. I mean, there's the Pope John Paul, the second one, got reprinted. There's a Mother Teresa. There's this. And then the one you should get is the Scrooge tape letters, C.S. Lewis, done in a cartoony style, with an introduction by Neil himself, Gaiman. So, Gaiman? Gaiman. I think it's Gaiman because Cerebus did a thing on him with it. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. Here we have 100 Bullets, books 5. I don't know if was this ever produced? Was it in production at a point? Interesting series. I'm surprised they haven't done it because it's just basic. It's Vertigo. It's straightforward. There's no special effects or anything. It's just a crime drama. Here we have Samson, Judge of Israel. Now, I bought this sort of thing because, again, this is comics that are outside the normal superhero stuff. This was published by Metron Press, which is part of the American Bible Society. And their offices and bookstore were just down the street from where I worked, Lincoln Center. I think they were opposite the ASCAP Sesame Street building. They tried graphic novels for a while. Not bad. Samson is a superhero. They published a few interesting books. Good quality, good try. Didn't work. And then the American Bible Society, years later, realized, hey, this real estate we own on Broadway, near Lincoln Center, is worth money. So they basically sold their property. I think they moved their headquarters down to Philadelphia or somewhere else. It's much cheaper. But as far as Christian organizations go, they're not bad. Here we have the Best of Ray Bradbury, the graphic novel. Earlier videos, I talked about the Ray Bradbury Chronicles, which reprinted EC Classics plus Ed Modern. iBooks could not get the rights or whatever, didn't want to pay the rights for the classic Ray Bradbury stories from EC Comics. So they took all the new stuff in. You can see that. That's one of the covers from the Ray Bradbury Chronicles series. And again, this was 1895. I don't know if it's still in print. Should be fairly easy to find. Highly recommended because you get, let's read the back here, Richard Corbin, Mark Chiarello, Mike Mignola, Dave Gibbons, Kent Williams, and John Van Fleet, P. Craig Russell, Michael Lark, another one by P. Craig Russell, Harvey Kurtzman and Mott Wagner working together. It burns me up as a story if you're a Ray Bradbury fan. Daniel Torres, John J. Muth, John Van Fleet, Wayne Barlow of Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials. With full page color art. Again, the cover stuff and some pinups inside. Mobius, William Stout, Tim Bradstreet, Ken Smith, Kelly Jones, David King, Mike Kaluta, Jim Truman, and Steve Fassner, Dave Gibbons, and Mark Chiarello. So, case you're wondering, here's a brief look at the Kurtzman Wagner Burns Me Up. Kurtzman probably did the layouts, and then Wagner did the polishes. Here we have a wonderful P. Craig Russell. I would love to see him adapt the entirety of, actually, all those short story novels, the novels which were original short stories they put together, like Martian Chronicles, I, Robot, I would love to see as a graphic novel. And yes, if you have various artists to do the stories, that's fine. Because we got 2 or 3 in there already. P. Craig Russell doing Martian stories. Oh. Okay, now, speaking of P. Craig Russell, who does opera stories. This isn't by him. This is Richard Wagner's The Ring of the Nibelung. Yeah, Sword and Magic Helmet. Not as short as What's Opera Doc, but pretty close. The complete graphic novel by Roy Thomas and Gil Kane with Jim Woodring. Yes, Jim Woodring. You might wonder, wow, that's going to be crazy, right? Nope. It is very straightforward storytelling, which is fine. It gives you the story, no lyrics. I don't know where the writer of Valkyrie shows up in here. Yeah, watch somebody complain about the copyright on that, and those public domain. But again, you get the story. This was a reprint. Again, this originally was a 4-volume Perfect Bound series from DC Comics. This is now Express did this version. I'll put it's been up there. Yeah, they got all sorts of information in here. You got some opera news guy. 89, 90, 91 by DC Comics. Copyright DC Comics. So I guess they licensed this from Express, licensed this from DC. So good for them. But yeah, Brian Keller, managing editor of Opera News, gives you some background on the Ring Cycle and Wagner. Don't mention the war. Okay, we're going to the bottom here. Ooh, we got some good stuff. Here's a really good thing. I got a whole bunch of these. I think I bought the complete run at auction. But here we have Volume 3 of the Star Trek, The Enterprise Logs. And oh, I might have to put a link down in below. Send you to my blog where I review one of the first issues, first year, when I didn't have access to reference photos and such. But Gold Key, as with many other TV series of the time, published Star Trek comics, have wonderful photo covers on them like this. What they then did for some of the more serious stuff is they published books, graphic novels. This is a graphic novel. I consider a graphic novel, even though it doesn't. Might have an LC number. I don't. Oh yeah, it actually has an ISBN number here. Look up really close there. See, Golden Press, Western Publishing, Racine, Wisconsin. So they took those issues and bound them into a volume. And I don't know how many issues are in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stories. 200 plus pages, 224 pages. Originally, this would have cost you $1.95, which would have been pricey in the mid-70s. But man, look at all that stuff you're getting. Newsprint's not rotting. Okay, now, what I said about the Perfect Bound, I don't know if this was originally, but this was serialized. Here we have the complete Moon Shadow. John Mark DeMatteis, John J. Muth, artist. Originally published through the Epic, I think it was the Epic line of Marvel Comics. And Graffiti did do, and Marvel did do a collection. Then Kent Williams, George Pratt, Kevin Nolan, Gasper Saldino. Kevin Nolan doing lettering. That's interesting. Special thanks to Sherilyn von Valkenburg. This is all 12 books of the original. Michael Zulli introduction. Nice. And then they did a final issue complete called Farewell Moon Shadow. Vertigo published it, and then they did the final thing. So I don't know. It's very literary. I guess it's literate science fiction. But I don't know how you explain the story. It is just, it's John J. Muth. Again, if you like his stuff, a lot of librarians do. Recommend it for that. Interesting story. It's good science fiction. And this was done. Do I have this? Here. Put that up there. Well, saving front. 1985. The 97 was the final issue, final chapter. 94, 95 is when it was originally published. I didn't realize it was that late. Okay. And then we have David Chelsea in Love, a reprint from his indie comics. This was published by Reed Graphica. Yes, Reed Publishing, formerly owner of Publishers Group West. Now, they sold off a lot of their print publications, trades and such, and instead have gone into exhibitions. Reed Pop, New York Comic Con, PAX, PAX, New York Arcade Expo. That's what they're known for now. So here we have, they did a few comics reprints, and then it just didn't work. But here's David Chelsea in Love, biocomic. I don't know what he's up to now. 91, 92, 93. Eclipse. Let's see if I can show something here that's not. Great story, great style, very distinct, very detailed. Nice sweet work with shading. And this is basically a biocomic of his romance. And she's out there. I wonder what she's doing now. Of course, the problem with biocomics is biographies in general, memoirs in general, is you're talking about people. And sometimes they don't like the way you talk about it. Ooh, here's another reprint. In the bottom. Again, $12 when I bought it. Jack Kirby's New Gods. Black and white, which again, I'm saying black and white, although they gray tone the colors. Which isn't bad. I mean, it really gives you the Kirby artwork to look at. And again, Jack Kirby, Vince Coletta, Mike Royal. This is New Gods 1 through 11. 11 issues for $12, $1 an issue. Over 300 pages. So, Dark Side, right? Dark Side is, I don't know what here we have from Topps Comics. Yeah, Topps. The collectible card game. Let's start over. Topps, best known for the collectible cards. Zuka Joe Gum. Did go into comics for a while and produced some pretty good titles. If you see them in long boxes, dollar bins, give them a shot. This is the X-Files. Chris Carter, of course. I got Jim Salicrup to autograph it. The editor, nice guy. Stephen Petrucca, Charles Adlard. Yes, Charles Adlard, he of Walking Dead fame, did the artwork. Don't know if these are canon or not, but if you need an X-Files fix, try this. This originally sold for $20, which is kind of pricey back then. I don't know if the X-Files stuff has been reprinted, recollected. There's still some fandom, but I don't know. I wonder what the creator's doing now. Chris Carter. What happened to him? I don't hear him in the news. Probably getting. And then we have Matt Wagner, Guy Davis, Sandman Mystery Theater, The Tarantula. $15. And this is the first Sandman. Let's put Put it that way, the Golden Age Sandman character. In the 70s, Jack Kirby came along, turned him into a superhero. We don't talk about that. And then, of course, Neil Gaiman came along, and wow. And he is mentioned. Both of those are mentioned in the Sandman series. This then, DC said, hey, we've got this guy. Sandman comics are doing well. Let's bring this guy back. The original Sandman. Wesley Dodds. Golden Age superhero. We can do a noir series of stories where he's not really a superhero, just an adventurer. Actually, worked for a while. Okay, halfway done, folks, at 25 minutes. Okay, next pile. Silly Daddy. Long Goodbye. Joe Chiappetta. There is the family photo. $7.95. And where was the ISBN? Oh, there's the ISBN. You read that? Yes. First book. See the zero there? That zero in the check digit means it's the first book in there. So again, biocomics about his family. After that, we have, this is a good one. Arthur Adams, Monkey Man and O'Brien. This was part of the Maverick line, excuse me, not Maverick, Legend line of creator-owned universe. They kind of did an Image, but for Dark Horse. So John Byrne did some stuff. Monkey Man O'Brien, I think Hellboy was part of that. Concrete might have been, but just great stuff from Arthur Adams. Don't know if this ever became, I don't know if these comics are worth anything. The graphic novels, if you can find them, grab them. They're good stuff. It's good, fun stuff. This was $17 back in the day. The Invasion of the Froglodites. The Menace of the Shrumanoid. The terror known as Quash. Come on. You know you want to read this. Science fiction, giant gorilla, talking giant gorilla. Monsters, subterranean monsters, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Okay, here, Superman transformed. Electric blue Superman, I call him. Yes, for a moment there, for about a year or two, Superman lost his regular powers, gained these electromagnetic powers. And, well, interesting series because, again, he has to deal with Final Night stories in here. That was a good story where he has to save the uses the last of his powers, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's a good series because he has all these new powers, and of course, he doesn't know how to use them. So it's a Superman, man or menace. Superman or Super Menace, yes. And that was a storyline in there. One of the local newspapers, or one of the Rush Limbaugh type characters start criticizing Superman because, yeah, he's causing damage. Here we have John Constantine, Hellblazer, Fear and Loathing, Garth Ennis, Steve Dillon. Good stuff. Not for kids, of course. But yeah. The Ennis run on John Constantine was pretty darn good. There are a few things there. I was surprised that stuff didn't hit the fan. But hey, again, if you can find the issues, find the graphic novels. Here we have Heartbreakers, Bust Out, Paul Guinan, and In a Minute. Great people. I don't know if they have done much with this since. This is the Image reprint. They go back even farther. They go back to the black and white indie period. But take a look at everything they do. This is a group, as you can see, of female Marines. Give it a try. This is a weird series. Tales from the Bog. Not weird, strange. Told by characters. Sort of a Pogo-esque thing. Although not really, because as you can see from the artwork, it's about the direct opposite. Collects the first 4 issues. You got Will Eisner, Jeff Smith, Dave Sims, Steve Bissett, Gerhard, giving blurbs on the back. So you might like it. Don't know what Marcus Lusk is doing now. Here we have True Swamp and members of Lenny the Frog, John Lewis, Slave Labor Graphics. This is animal characters, not anthropomorphized. Living in a swamp, dealing with all the crazy stuff that goes along. There's the information. Oh, this is really good stuff. I wish it got reprinted. I know it's something to do with the creators, but leave it to chance. Shaman's Reign, James Robinson, Paul Smith, Jeremy Cox. If you can, just grab the hardcover, the oversized hardcovers, because the artwork in here, I mean, it is just perfect. Okay, what's the story, you ask? Is this the first volume, first collection? I believe so. Published Comics, 1997. Yeah, 1 through 4. 1 to 6. Okay, so how do I explain this? All right, she's the daughter of this universe's Doctor Strange. Except in this universe, or whatever this series, it is a line of ancestors who have protected. What's the name of this place called? Something Hollow. Anyway, Lucas Faulkner, her father, right? The idea is that at age 14, the next generation starts training to become the protector of and continue the legacy of the family in protecting their town. Except her father is dealing with the death of his wife, who was helping him. And he's overprotective of her, says, no, Chance, sorry, nope. You have a kid, I'll train him. She says, of course, it's kind of a, what if Nancy Drew's father was Doctor Strange kind of thing? She, of course, wants to follow the legacy. So she goes off and does her own thing, gets in trouble. Devil's Echo, that's the name of the town. God, so good. So it's a Nancy Drew with monsters. And of course, Devil's Echo has all of these paranormal creatures walking about. Yeah, there's vampires, there's trolls, there's, in addition to regular people. So, gosh darn, I wish this got reprinted, collected, because I could just recommend this to so many people. So many libraries would love this. Till then, buy the graphic novels, buy the single comics. Here's the information. That and 1963 are the two I would love to see reprinted. But again, great issues. Here's an early, what volume is this? This is the second volume of Marvel Comics, The Essential Spider-Man. Volume 2, $12.99. And this includes numbers 21 through 34. So you got Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and then it moves over into this is all Steve Ditko. in glorious black and white. We got an issue in here where he meets the Avengers. Is that his first meeting of the Avengers? No, it's the annual, number 3. What is that worth now? Spidey faces the Mighty Avengers, the Incredible Hulk, enough said. Plus the most action-packed of all, Dr. Octopus. Return Dr. Octopus, Unmasked by Dr. Octopus, which are reprints, so it's not in here. It's just the... it's kind of weird to see the Incredible Hulk in black and white. It's like, that doesn't look like the Hulk, right? Pow. But this is Steve Ditko, I believe. Ooh, the Rhino's in there. Oh no, that's a previous issue. Let me see who did this. Smiling Stanley, Jazzy John Romita did the layouts. Dashing Don Heck did the penciling. Mirthful Mickey Demio, I haven't heard him before, did the inking, and adorable Artie Simic did the letter. Right. Oh, sorry. I was just looking at the first page of this table of contents. This is actually Spider-Man number 21 through Spider-Man number 43, plus the annual number 3. So you get Ditko, Lee, and then John Romita, Sr. So much good stuff in here. Good chunk of change. Not a good chunk of change. Well worth the cost. Like I said, $25 or cheaper, pick it up. Speaking of Sandman earlier, here we have Sandman Fables and Reflections. And again, this is of that period of DC Comics where they did not put an ISBN barcode. You have a UPC barcode because it's direct sales, meaning comic shops. This is a very good series. If you want to get into... Oh, wow. I got Brian Talbot. I'll autograph it. I have the hardcover. I probably have Neil Gaiman's autograph in this. But these are the short stories, which are more accessible. You have the Emperor Norton stories in here. Ooh. This is why. Because he was signing at Big Planet Comics back in the day. Brian Talbot, Tale of One Bad Rat, which I believe I got him to sign as well. That is an amazing series. Anything by Brian Talbot. Pick it up. He's been doing some interesting stuff by himself now. Thanks. Now that graphic novels have caught up to us now. Thermador, which is a story about Johanna Constantine, John Constantine's ancestor. And of course, the French Revolution. You have The Hunts. You have a wonderful story about Augustus Caesar. You have Marco Polo in here. You have this Orpheus special. You have Parliament of Rooks, which is a short story containing more short stories, including The Little Endless. Aww. And what's the final one in here? Probably the best single issue of Sandman, Ramadan. Issue number 50. Oh, just so much good stuff in that. Oh, look at that. Oh. So, if you're curious about Sandman, try this. Short stories, single issue stories, very accessible. And a lot of that stuff you can Google. Like Emperor Norton, the first and only emperor of the United States. That's probably the only thing I knew ahead of time when reading those stories. So, hey, I know that guy. Not personally. Preacher, Proud Americans. This is volume number on here. Again, DC. I don't think wanted to, but again, Preacher, Never watched the TV series, but the book is pretty damn good. This is numbers 18 through 26. And yeah, there's just so much wrong here. Here we go. Okay. Steve Dillon, amazing artist. Now, here we have something that was Harold Buchholz, who's an editor, started his own line of, I guess, funny. It's Apathy Cat, which is sort of a take on the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, I guess. I'm not going to open this further because I think I'm going to break the binding. But Eternity Comics, yes. $7.95. I don't know where the ISBN is on this, but this is a great one, even if it doesn't have an ISBN. Because it collects comics. Ooh. Here we have Angela. I paid $9.95 for this, which is a cover price. There's the image. So as you can tell, it says 09. So this is the 10th issue volume they published under that. He didn't do a lot of graphic novels early on. It wasn't until after the Spawn movie that they really got into it. This is Angela, the collection by Gaiman and Capullo. Volume 1. I don't think there was ever Volume 2 because he created this character. Okay, let's rewind. Image Comics. The artists go start their own titles. They're artists, not considered great writers. Todd McFarlane says, okay, guys, yeah, I'll give you that. We're just learning how to write. So I'm going to get 3 good writers to do single issues of Spawn. Alan Moore, Dave Sim, and Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman's issue, he introduces Angela. Because it's Neil Gaiman, they do a miniseries. Then Todd McFarlane buys the remnants of Eclipse Comics at auction, which includes Miracle Man, which Neil Gaiman worked on. Great Captain Marvel story, originally by Alan Moore. Neil Gaiman did it, and then Eclipse went belly up, and it kind of just is in limbo, kind of, sort of. So the agreement was that Neil Gaiman would trade the rights of Angela to Todd McFarlane for the rights to Marvel Man. Okay? Because Eclipse owned a third of Marvel Man as the publisher. Alan Moore and I think of Mark Buckingham or whoever the artist was. So there's a 3-part ownership there. Todd McFarlane reneged on that deal. Neil Gaiman took him to court. Neil Gaiman wrote the Eternals miniseries. One. So, in the meantime, Marvel Man, originally Marvel Man, Miracle Man, people thought it was in the public domain. It wasn't. So Marvel in it says, hey, Neil Gaiman, yeah, you settled this, but it's not a copy. No, the copyright still exists. So we're going to go talk to the original creator of Marvel Man, who's basically copying Shazam, Captain Marvel. Don't make a deal with him and his estate. So they did. So Marvel now has free and clear the rights to Miracle Man, which they've reprinted. They don't know if they're doing anything new. I don't know how they also got the rights to Angela. Not sure. But anyway, Angela was brought into the Marvel Universe, and I kind of forgot. But that's the long story. But hey, this, one moment. I'm going to look this up on 8books. Because I don't think this has been collected. I don't think it can be collected. So one moment here. I got to bring up 8books, which is a nice search tool for out-of-print books. So let's just type in 1-887279091. First, I should probably put that in the right place. Yes, 188727991. Okay. And then we have Spawn, Angelus Hunt. Now, the copy that shows up here is not the Isman. Wait. Yeah, that is the Isman. The lowest price for this, $100. The highest price for this, $164. There's actually two titles that are, I think the algorithms are fighting each other. So, and I don't know if this will ever be collected again. Lord knows what the single issues are going for, which I also. Those only issues is why I bought were those three authors, and they're good. Here we have this is a good superhero series too. You don't hear about them much. I don't know if it was in production development, but the Ray, solar powered superhero, and a blaze of power, Aztec based, I believe. I believe it's Jack C. Harris, Joe Quesada, Art Nichols. Yes, Joe Quesada worked for DC Comics back in the day. 1994. Originally published grade number 1 through 6, 1991, 1992. And I think it was a Golden Age character, but they revamped him. Solar powered, Hispanic, Latino. So, don't know what's up with him lately. I'm going to make a good hero. Here we have Batman featuring Two-Face and the Riddler with an introduction by Mark the Joker Hamill. This does have a regular EAN on it, barcode. Ooh, and an index of Two-Face and Riddler appearances. Nice. Published Detective Comics 66, 68, 140, 377, Batman 179, Secret Origin Special number 1. I'm going to look that up in a moment. There's more to that. And Batman Annual number 14. Yep. That Secret Origin number special number 1 was featured Batman villains. And in that book, we have the origin of the Riddler. When is a door? The secret origin of the Riddler. One moment here. Bernie McRoll, Matt Wagner doing the art, Neil Gaiman doing the story. And here we have. Probably not too expensive to get. This is probably very cheap to get. It's a nice. And I think they published this because of the Batman movie. All right. Jim Carrey, the Two-Face should have been Lando Calrissian because he was Harvey Dent in the first movie, and that black, his normal skin plus the half face, that one I think would have been even more startling. But that's just me. Jim Carrey, not a big fan of his version. I like the Riddler, who was more cerebral, the one who makes Batman actually detect. But anyway, they put this out because of that. Because of the movie, right? 1995. Okay. But man, you've got, because of all those different because of all of the archival stuff in here, you've got an amazing selection of talent. Just the writers alone. Bill Finger, of course, Gardner Fox, Neil Gaiman, Alan Grant, Andrew Helfer, Mark Verheiden. And this was $12.95. You can probably find it even cheaper. This I bought because at the time, Marvel wasn't publishing a whole lot of graphic novels. It came through the bookstore. I used my discount. And this is when I was in 1994. $15.95, Marvel Comics. There's that. An early Avengers X-Men crossover. Blood Ties. Avengers West Coast, and X-Men. This is actually really thick, nice paper for a graphic novel. I don't know if they redid the coloring, because when you put it on something this wide instead of newsprint, it kind of just pops. It's like almost not incandescent. What's the word I'm looking for? Radioactive? Fluorescent, yes. But again, this came through 1993, 1995. Avengers 368, 369, Avengers West Coast 101, X-Men 26, and Uncanny X-Men number 307. And that's a Klaus Janson cover. So anyway, for some reason, notes. I mean, you would do it here. It's like, credits are in the back. That's interesting. Oops, just put the binding there. All right, I'm just gonna leave that there. And then 2 more volumes. And All But Blood, book 8B in the Elfquest Readers Collection. Published by Wolfrider Books, which I think is part of Warp Graphics. God, that's horrible. Yeah, there you go. Very cute. Those are the elves for you. An interesting series. Yep, Warp Graphics. Elfquest.com. That's since finished about 3 years ago. Don't know what they're doing now. But if you like fantasy, well done. Get the and the albums they did, the cover albums of their early work back in the early 70s, 80s. The rare graphic novel you can find in a bookstore. And then here we have Volume 1, The Collected Strangers in Paradise by Terry Moore, which I think is also what I just had there. $6.95, Abstract Studios. A delightful new comic, says Neil Gaiman. It is. Love story of sorts. A lot of love stories of sorts. Yep. I'm an autographic. Probably back in the day. This would be 1995, yeah. But yeah. Good stuff. Okay. Recommended. Highly? Yeah, I would say so. Haven't read it in a long while, but yeah. Give it highly recommended. So, there's the end of the box. We're coming up on 54 minutes. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. That was a bit unusual as far as graphic novels go. That's why I did it. But again, I have there's a palette of these boxes and others similar size in the far back corners of the basement. And I'm going through the graphic novels now because the comics are going to take a lot of work later. So, as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got some good recommendations out of that, some stuff you didn't know about. $100. Jeez. That's insane. That's what happens. This stuff can't get collected. I mean, that Marvel Man, Miracle Man comics, for a long time, those hardcovers that Eclipse put together, I think they still are highly valued. But even the comics was like, this is never going to get collected again because the rights are such a mess. But there's stuff like that out there. The 1963 comics, I don't think those ever got collected. Supreme, the original negatives of from the comics that they were published. Those were lost, so they had to shoot the graphic novel from the comic book, and not very well either. So there's stuff like that out there. I'm so kind of surprised that the graphic novel side of collecting hasn't, because you get some good reach. I mean, shoot, what was that? The Spawn, Angela. That was $10 originally. Now it's $100. It's like the early days of like Action #1, right? The '60s. It was like somebody just paid $200 for a copy of Action #1. Isn't that crazy? Where are those early days now? I'm sure if I got that signed by Neil Gaiman, I don't know if Neil Gaiman would probably sign it. Tom McFarlane, again, he's not in that book, but it's his character. Actually, let me see. Yeah, this is just how. And they should have known better. Larry Marder should have known better. But I should probably put gloves on, right? Presented by Tom McFarlane. So yeah, I could give him a sign from the Spawn series. But no, this does not include the original Spawn #9 or whatever that was. This one. Yeah, that issue isn't in here. This is a miniseries, just the character, where she is under suspicion for something and put on trial and heaven or whatever it's called in the Spawn universe. But again, $10 originally. It's now $100. 20 years from now, if this is signed and in great condition, this is pretty much perfect condition. I think I read it once. I didn't even read it. I had the original comics. Read those. I bought it because it was Neil Gaiman. I wanted to complete my collection. I think probably 20 years. Well, this is now, I mean, Spawn is at issue 300 now, is it? I think within 10 to 20 years, that's going to be a lot more. I don't know. Well, here, okay, just a moment. I'm going to look up the original Angela issue on the Grand Comics database. So, Angela, site comics.org. Love that keyboard, nice and noisy. Not as great as one of those old AT&T. Angela #1, December 1994. Sorry, it's an old computer. Here we are. And yes, Neil Gaiman, credited. Greg Capullo. So, this was done in 1994. Now, what's nice is that, yes, they say, reprints Angela trade paperback Image 1994 series. There's a German edition that's available. Okay? It has not been reprinted by Marvel. So, that is the only trade collection available. How many of them are out there? Probably not a lot. I'm thinking Image, and again, Image wasn't really doing graphic novels at this time. 1994, this is their 10th graphic novel they did. Okay? So it wasn't really available in the bookstores because they didn't have trade distribution at that point. So it's only available through comic shops. And again, they probably printed to order. So I'm thinking maybe 20,000 copies. I don't know how many copies would have sold back. I mean, it's Neil Gaiman. It's 25,000 copies. Okay, excuse me. They went to a third. Grand Comics database says there's a third printing available. So let's say there's 50,000 copies out there. All right. That's pretty low number for, I mean, that's a low number for books. But then you have stock image on here. So how many of those are still in extant? I'm sure there are probably collectors out there who have copies. Are they in great condition? I don't know. But 50,000 copies, that's low for a comic book. That's medium now for a comic book. And for a trade, who knows? Yeah, how many copies are out there? So I think you're going to see that in the future. I mean, the first hardcover, Sandman, The Seasons of Mist, which is just beautiful. That's probably going for $200-300. So that's where I see the future. That's an untapped market. I don't know if I'm going to invest in it, retail on that, but don't be surprised. I mean, I'm a Akira, the complete set of Akira hardcovers that Graffiti did when Marvel Epic had the license. Those just sold. Those complete set, and again, those are signed and numbered. Tipped plates usually back then. Those I think were like, I want to say 50,000. I don't know. I can't remember. But it was actually sold by a antiquarian book dealer, not a comics dealer, not Heritage Auctions. This was by a rare books dealer because it's like Akira. People know Akira was the first mainstream anime to hit American theaters. Hit American theaters, hit our host theaters. That's what started the anime. I think that's what really fueled the anime craze here. And of course, it's a great story. Great anime, great comics. You had the Tokyo Olympics in there too. It's just, so I think you can start seeing that in the future. That you're going to see these, if they're signed, numbered, limited edition, slipcase, deluxe, whatever, or rare stuff that hasn't been that will never get reprinted because of the rights are such a mess. I think you're going to see some major movement in that market. Anyway, that's all I have for you tonight. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll see me real soon. I hope I didn't bore you. Hope you enjoyed this. Tell your friends. I'm not going to tell you to subscribe or hit the button or whatever. I really don't care about this. I'm just doing this to keep me sane and hopefully to share my knowledge with some people, my insights. So until then, have a great evening. Have a great weekend. Keep reading comics. Share what you love. Ignore the people who say you shouldn't. If they got something they enjoy, yeah, listen to them. Ask them what they enjoy. What should you read? Why I shouldn't read this, but why should I read this or that? So, until then, thanks for watching. Good night.